see now that it's not round, but in a second, you know, it will be. If being a circle was important for this piece of wood, then this, as it sits, it's not really vital that this be round. It's invisible to the eye when it's installed. It's just in here. I do want the grain to allow it to roll so that it can roll along with this side of the wheel pan, so that by having it in there, it's not deforming the plastic at all. It's conforming, not deforming the plastic. Conforming to it. I know I say everything a dozen times, but that's just the way I am. All right, so we're just going to drop that right in there in the middle of this opening, roughly here. And again, that's going to allow me to drill through and put an axle here, and it'll provide that support that's needed for the axle, and it won't deform the wheel pan, and it won't interfere with the wheel itself, which will never touch that. It doesn't reach that spot at all. That's a good 1/4 of an inch standoff there. All right, so it's perfect in every way. And we'll just make 2 of those. All right, does that sound like a winner? Did I do the same size or make this one bigger? Nah, I made it bigger. It's all right. Bigger's better, right? Again, none of this is visible to the eye in the completed model. So it's all right. One of the reasons I do want it to be completely round, though, is that the point of these facets could cause, when this thing is flexed and conforming, could cause a deformation to the wheel pan that you could see from the outside. So I'm just going to knock those down, not worrying about being a perfect circle, just knocking the points off so that they don't jut out on a fold and, as I said, deform the shape of the wheel pan. Alright, that's all we need to do right there. And again, just be assured that the grain is running in the right direction, so that the grain will allow the wood to fold and conform to the wheel pan, not the other way around. I want to be in the center of the opening and in such a position that no matter where I drill that hole, once we're in the right location, it's still going to be within the area of that wood chip. So this one, we're going to be a little low. The hole's going to be down here, but it doesn't matter as long as it's surrounded by wood, that hole that we drill through for the axle. And that's what the axle will capture into. It'll be sunk in here and adhered with adhesive, super glue, so that it can't come out. This is how I do all the wheel pants, and I've never had well, knock on wood, I've never had a failure. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna stop the tape. I'm gonna stop the recording now and clean these up and get them ready. To glue together, and we'll get that going. Just a couple rubber bands to hold everything together when it's gluing with the wood glue, and we'll be all set. But there you see essentially what we have. And again, as I said, we're going to sand this off and sand it flush. We can't have this one. We'll sand with the grain along the length of the part. Get everything flush. There we go. Okay, that's all flush all the way around. Once you don't have any overhang, you can start to Do a little swirl sanding. Gotta get rid of that overhang first, and then you can really get in there that way. So okay, now we're flush. Now the parts should fit snugly together, and they do. Alright, we'll use the white woodworking glue to get those together. But you look inside there, you can see how that mating surface, you see how much balsa we have to really bring this and seal this connection. Alright, these wheel pants aren't going anywhere. If you're building a flyer, even if it's a rubber band flyer, not electric, this is probably still a good way to go. That's not going to add a whole lot of weight. And if you reduce from 1/16 to 1/32 balsa, you'll save even more weight. Alright, so your wheel pants will survive a little bit longer with that better connection in there. I mean, that's just a real solid all the way around. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. You can see what I'm talking about in there. Good solid glue line all the way around. Okay, that's how I do the wheel pants, and that's how I've always done them. Just keeps everything together. That is when I'm not making them entirely out of laminated balsa. This is the best way to go with the vacuum formed components with this situation here. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to check on was the wheel thickness, to see if I could get away with, or if I needed to thicken these up. Let's just see what that looks like in there. Yeah, that's pretty tight. So we're not going to be able to thicken, add any material to the center of the wheel to make them fatter. But that's fine. These are probably broad enough. And you see the depth we need to get to. If we want to be to scale, the entire wheel portion, as opposed to the rubber, it goes right to the limit there. Alright, so that's the depth we want to be at, which is actually good, because that now we're more toward the center of each of these balsa liners that I put on each side. But that looks pretty good, right? That's our wheel pant. We're pretty much there. Okay, and if I need it to go any higher, I can still sand these out. In fact, let's do that. Let's just hog those out just a little bit. Give me a little more adjustability for that wheel. Where'd my dowel go? It's probably right in front of me. Here it is. So we'll just do this real quick using the coarser grit, and carefully just kind of hog these out just a little more. And again, you just want that adjustability. You want to be able to move the wheel around to find your axle point. And set the wheel to the depth that you want. And both sides, both wheel pants have to be equal. We have to make sure that when we measure and start drilling through here, that we do both locations identical to each other. Otherwise, the stance of the airplane will be cockeyed. You don't want that again. Whoa, got myself. Alright, so now we got a little more space in there. And we can set that wheel a little bit deeper. And we can adjust that as we go. There we go. There we go. So that's how it's going to kind of wrap up. So I get these glued together. And then all we're going to do with this is we're going to drill a couple of holes, one on each side, just about there, that this will just drop in. And then, because that's not much of a glue line, but what ends up happening is we'll get the pants on, the wheel pants, part that goes to the strut, this part. We're going to triple this. We're going to make a sandwich and put 16th on either side of this as our template. And this is the line where it goes to the top of the fairing. Actually goes this way because the way this tracks under the wing, I think. Let me think. This is the way, because that's extended down. So this is our actual glue line to the wheel pant, if that makes sense, to the fairing. That's going to glue right along here, and it's going to be, you know, triple this thickness. It's about at least 1/8 of an inch of a glue line there, with the core of our landing gear leg going into the wheel pant, into the fairing. So you see that we'll have a good strong bond there when we get that all together. Okay, that's it. I'm going to turn the camera off. Thanks for viewing. Everybody have a good day.